Deej, what's going on, man?
What's up, bro? What's up?
Much,
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man.
Great,
yeah,
glad to
man.
see
We were
you.
just on the subject of Black History Month, and what that means to us, and how that has been presented today and throughout history. Um, for all of you that are looking and watching and tuning in tonight, we'd like to say welcome. This is a new podcast that we like to call the Three Wise Men. Not that we necessarily call ourselves wise or whatever, but it's something that we aspire to for the sake of sharing knowledge and growing from it. So my name is Zach. I'm one of the three. Uh, we all know each other from Amazon. If you two want to introduce yourselves.
I'm Dr. AJ Hayward, and these two guys are my friends.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
For sure. I'm DGM. I'm Deej. Hey, like my boy Zach said, we know each other from Amazon.
Yeah.
Nice to be here.
For sure. Glad to have y'all. I mean, we finna jump right back into it. Deej, we gonna catch you up to speed.
Sure.
Jacob was just asking us questions, thought-provoking questions. I think the last one was talking about this generation and how they may perceive Black history and how it's affected them and how it's looking from my perspective. And I think I had a little bit to say about that, honestly. I think we're in an age of convenience where everything is handed to us. We really don't have to work for anything, so to speak. And I think that because things are, service to us, that cuts out a lot of chances for knowledge to be passed on. I don't know about y'all, but in my experience, my pops used to give me a lot of life lessons, critical life lessons through hard work and having to do things for ourselves. If the money wasn't there, you had to get it yourself. And so how you got it was, depended on what was taught to you and what you knew. And so I don't think a lot of kids today are having to get it like that, and the parents being so hands-on, not so much today as they were back then. And so that's where my critical lessons came in and where I kind of wised up in some ways. AJ, how you feel about that?
You said the thing that stand out for me is when you said hands-on. Our young generation and we as a people in society today are in a stagnated state because when I came along, my parents was hands-on. And when I say hands-on, I mean hands-on.
Right.
And you couldn't pick up no phone and call nobody to put them in their place. You understand? They chastise you, whip your behind, you deal with that.
Right.
Now, the parents are not hands-on because society and the government has taken that authority away that you can't discipline your child. You understand? I'm here to tell you, gentlemen, if they living in your house, you got a right to set your rules. And if they can't go by your rules, then they need to get out.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, you have to really be that hands-on person, in order to get them to understand that you can't make your decision by yourself at this age. I respect your opinion. I understand your viewpoint, and I want to support you in all your endeavors. But as the parent, you're going to have to understand that, guess what? What you trying to do, I've already done. The book you trying to write or the book you reading, I've already read that book. My father used to tell me all the time, he said, put the damn shovel down. And I was like, I don't have a shovel. He said, boy, put the shovel down. And I was like, Dad, what shovel are you talking about? And he said, this one. The way you think is digging a hole for you.
Wow.
And that's what we have to get the young generation to understand is that, it's their way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And when you got that cognitive way of thinking, it digs a hole for them. And in society, it has dug a hole for us as a people. That settledness, that complacentness, I'll take that. No, I'm better than that. I deserve more than that, and I'm going to fight until I get what I'm worth.
Yeah.
You understand? And that's why we have to be more hands-on today with our kids, because we allow them to just do what they want to do, and when it blows up in their face, we ain't got no answer for it.
Yeah.
So we have to be hands-on. We have to be more assertive in their life, because if not, they're not going to get any understanding.
Exactly.
The world is not your friend, and life is a selfish thing. Life give you exactly what you give life. If you put, excuse my language, but it's true, if you put bullshit in life gonna give you bullshit back.
Yeah.
And we as a people and in this society today, in this generation, we're not putting a whole lot out there, so that's why we're not getting a whole lot back. It's giving us exactly what we put in, nothing. Exactly. We're not fighting, we're not screaming, and with this youth in this generation now, we got to be more hands-on and be assertive to say, hey, listen here, that's not going to work. You may not like the way I say it, you may not like the way I feel about it, but I'm telling you from experience, it's not going to work, son. I already tried that. So therefore, what you need to do is study this thing again. There's many questions you have to ask yourself before you make the decision. Just on this topic right here that causes a big rift and a downfall in us as a people. You got young folks out there now having kids, and they're not ready for that. Just because you and that girl cut it up and y'all had a good time, and you think it's all, son, listen here. The wind changes direction very fast. And that wind will change direction. And now you got a lifetime of hell on your hand, because you got to deal with her while you're trying to be a father to your child. And that's why a lot of the young men are so angry, because of the situations they're dealing with, that they have put themselves in. Kitty cat is kitty cat, and kitty cat, I love kitty cat. But guess what? Man, don't get tied down when you're not ready. When you're ready, that's good, but don't get tied down when you're not ready. And that responsibility of having a child together has really messed a lot of young men up in their way of thinking. And they're struggling and they're fighting to be a good father, dealing with a woman, female, who's just being spiteful. You understand? Yeah. And that's why you got a lot of young, angry men. And we as older brothers, we have to step up and be more assertive and say, hey, come here, brother, let me tell you something. This is what you need to look at. You don't have to take my advice. Just look at the situation from this angle, because, we're not getting forward. We're not getting anywhere as a people, because they're not getting the knowledge, and they got kids and they have nothing to pass on to their kids. So we need to be more hands-on.
That's real. Did you have anything to say about that?
Honestly, I agree all the way, but I can touch bases on something. Like, I think everything starts with like your upbringing. Everybody's household is different. Honestly, for me, just growing up, it's like I was basically learning from a lot of people. Like, it just got to the point where like I got tired of it. I want, like he said, like, I agree, man. I agree.
I hear you. Okay, I'll put it like this then. Back then, before the internet and stuff was on and popping, we just had, our main forms of communication, information, which was our families, primarily our parents. Now, the internet has come about. You got these substitute parentings or sources of parents. Basically, the internet itself. You got a lot of children getting their knowledge from the internet. And if you come from a household where your parents aren't so hands-on and really monitoring your upbringing, then you got children who are susceptible to whatever misinformation is being put out there. And as they grow up, if they're left unchecked, they're going to grow up believing this stuff that they see on the internet. And now you got people living in delusions or false realities. And if you want to just think about the Black community, see how that's affected them and how that sheds light on what Black history is to them. You know what I mean? So I think there are two critical points of education for anybody, not just Black people, but we're going to stick to Black people right now because it's Black History Month. So for a young Black man or a Black woman, when they're younger in their adolescent years, I would say, um, the older generation, it's their responsibility to teach them right then, get them while they're young, spare the rod, spoil the child, so to speak. I think that's a proactive measure, a preventative measure for them to uh, first initiate mistakes and to avoid incidences like you said, AJ, becoming a parent too early before they're ready. But then there's the other one where, after they make that mistake, should we leave them alone? Should we condemn them for their mistakes? Or should we keep coaching them and tell them, hey, you may have made this mistake, but there's still hope and there's still a chance to turn it around. So this is what you should do, concerning your issues. How do y'all feel about that?
I feel like at some point you gotta hold yourself accountable too. I think it go hand in hand. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's just how I feel.
Yeah.
It's a lot I can say about.
Like Zach said,
yeah. How you feel about
we
it?
can't turn them loose.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though if they make that mistake, we still got to hold their hand. We still got to encourage them, and you still have to give them a chance to say, hey, you made this mistake, but guess what? Now is the road this is the road you need to be on,
Yeah.
because even though you made that mistake, you can't change that, but you can improve upon your behavior. You can improve upon your action. You don't have to make the same mistake again,
Yeah. Exactly. I mean,
I agree.
Think about it like this. What if God had that mindset? Oh, you made that mistake. It's too late for you now. That would be a hopeless situation, don't you think? Yeah. And so I think that first opportunity to teach them while they're young helps them to grow into their role as an individual. Never mind the women or the men that they may get involved with. I think we get involved with other people a little too early, especially romantically and stuff like that, that we forget the importance of self and building yourself up. I think that's part of the journey, when you grow and learn and become the person you want to be, you got to focus on your individual first, focus on you. Take care of those things that you need to take care of first, have your priorities set, um, and prepare yourself. And then when you feel like you're in a good place, take that on with the next person, share that with the next person and make sure that they on their chops as well. Because if not, they could bring you back down to where you were before. And all goes to say, choose wisely. You know what I mean? But to stay on topic, how important is the role of self in developing yourself in the context of being Black or in the context of Black history? How has that presented itself?
These some great solid questions, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how I feel with everything, man. Just people in general. If you don't have a solid foundation built within yourself, basically like no type of structure or discipline or whatever, you are already out of control. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
just the first step of it.
Pretty
And
much.
it all comes with self awareness too. But everybody learn different and see things different. You know what I
That's
mean?
true. That's true.
Your common sense may not be my common sense. I might gotta hit my head a couple times for me just to catch on to a simple task. You know what I mean? So everybody's different.
That's real. That's real. I mean, you talk to the next person, your logic ain't their logic. And that, that's true, but you think that some people have some sort of understanding, but y'all didn't grow up in the same household. You know what I mean? They didn't learn the same lessons you learned. And I think that becomes more apparent from the old fashioned, the people that were raised old fashioned, to this generation now who may have the modernized learning or household parenting. So I think it's good not to assume with the next person. But AJ, I'm gonna apply that question to you if you had anything to say about it.
Repeat the question one more time.
Okay. So what is the importance and the significance of developing yourself in the context of Black history? And maybe how has that presented itself within Black history?
The context of developing yourself, I can't lead if I'm not on a solid ground.
Mm-hmm.
I can't save you from drowning if I'm drowning. Mm-hmm. So I have to develop myself. One of the biggest things as a people, as a person, and as men, that we have to do is look in the mirror and face the honest truth of what you see. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is we have to be real with ourselves. We have to be real about ourselves to say, hey, I got some issues. I got some things I'm trying to fix for me. I got to improve upon. I got some things I need to cut off, because we go through a pruning system every day. So, in the terms of Black history, people like George Washington Carver, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, Phyllis Wheatley, they had to fight and deal with their issues of themselves as well as try to lead, but they had to face self first. You can't lead until you know that you are in a good place. And in terms of Black history, and in terms of us as a people going forward, we have to sharpen ourselves first. That when we step out, because society, whether they're Black or white, they're always looking for something to criticize. That's just human nature.
Yeah.
We can have 100 people watching this podcast, and somebody is going to criticize it for some reason, whatever the reason is. So we have to sharpen ourselves. We have to read. We have to study in order to be ready to lead our people in a positive direction. All those guys that came down, that died, that fought, got busted in the head, got sicked on by dogs and water holes, they had to sharpen themselves. They just didn't went out there not knowing what they was going to do and how they was going to do it. They had to sharpen themselves to, guess what? I'm going to stay on this battlefield no matter what. And that's what we have to do as men. We have to do it as a people. We have to prepare ourselves. We have to sharpen ourselves to say, hey, there's going to be some storms on this journey. Am I prepared? Am I prepared to really deal with these storms? And that's how we have to sharpen ourselves and prepare ourselves in order to reach our young men and our young women that's coming behind us.
Yeah, that's real. I mean, if you want to think about the civil rights era, they did a lot. They did a lot. They got creative with it. But I think the main thing was they stuck to it. They were consistent and they banded together.
Yeah.
It was a real social movement for them to basically shake the foundations of what was going on before that, breaking the norms of that time.
Yeah.
But what do you think led them to that point? What made them want to do that? And how does that reflect on today?
What made them want to do that is just like you and I, when you're tired and you're sick and tired.
Yeah.
I taught a couple drug classes, and I've learned something. I'm supposed to be doing the teaching, but I did a lot of learning also. They're not going to change until they are sick and tired of their situation and their condition.
Mm-hmm.
What led civil rights and the people that marched and fought back then within themselves that they weren't going to accept the way they were being treated anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to continue to get to that state that we are sick and tired and we're not going to take it.
Exactly.
You understand? Just like I said, if I punch you and you cry, I'm going to punch you tomorrow. But when you get sick and tired of that bully on the school ground, boy, your fight game come out.
Yeah.
Your fight game come real out. Boy, I'm not going to take this no more. I'm going to have to deal with you one way or the other.
For sure.
And that's how it is. That's how it was with them back then. They were sick and tired.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't going to take no more. And they had to sharpen themselves and they had to sharpen each other. Say, hey, listen here, we ain't taking this. We don't have to take this.
Yeah.
We're the one that built this country. We're the one that paved the streets. We're the one that build the buildings. And we have to take this. No, we're not taking this anymore. Because we now know that we're worth more than what they're trying to treat us or how they're treating us.
Yeah.
And we have to keep that concept today. We have to continue to push that to the generation today. We're not taking it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, yeah. You have something to say about that, DJ?
I agree.
He's speaking on it. I mean, honestly.
I agree.
Yeah. So considering those things, those elements with that, have we had a movement such as that or similar to that had those same elements as, the civil rights era?
Say that one more time.
Have we had any similar movements like that since the civil rights era?
Not to that degree, no.
Okay.
No, not that degree. We had the Black Lives Matter movement. We had, the women abortion rights movement, but to the degree of the civil rights, no.
Okay.
It has never been one that I know of.
Yeah. So for many people out there, they may have mixed feelings about what Black Lives Matter, what that movement was. Some may say it was maybe counterproductive to the black, to the black community. Some say it may have brought about change that we needed. What did that movement mean to y'all? And do y'all think it was important and still necessary now?
Whew. Man. There's a lot of directions you can go with this.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that too. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Just speak on the first thing that come to mind.
I feel like it was pros and cons in it too. I really felt like it gave us people, our cultural, like a certain type of voice, but it also showed the ignorance inside of it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's
what I mean by pros and cons. And I feel like it was more highlighted in a more, I won't say negative light, but I don't think that the image that it portrayed to be, I don't think it turned out like that. That's what I feel. I don't think no type of certain type of justice and all this was kind of in play how they really wanted it to be.
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
Great.
I agree with you. It has its pros and its cons.
Right.
I really don't think that it achieved as much as it should,
right,
or could have.
Yeah.
And it really didn't reach to a deepness that it intended to reach.
Mm-hmm.
The Black Lives Matter movement was to say, Black Lives Matter, white officers killing black young men and women. My spin on it, and how many others have spin it, we're fighting saying Black Lives Matter. First of all, it has to matter to you and I.
Exactly.
Because, you got officers, white officers out there killing black men, black women, but we are killing more than they are. We are doing more damage to each other than they are. And that's why they don't have any remorse or any second thought about doing it, because we're doing it to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Look at our job. Look at our job.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter. It could not have possibly mattered for you to come and do such heinous situation.
Yeah.
I mean, drag him out the car and beat his ass. You understand?
Yeah.
But when you pick a life of your fellow brother, your fellow man, your brother, Black Lives Matter to who? Who does it matter to?
Right.
It first has to matter to us.
Right.
If I get angry with Zach, one of the last element that's going to be put in that basket is to take his life. He's going to either whip my behind or I'm going to whip his. I don't care how young he is.
Yes.
I don't care how many nights he go to the gym. Bro, me and you going out in the parking lot, we going to deal. But when I have to get so evil to take your life, no. And we have to, the Black Lives Matter movement didn't push that issue hard enough. It has to matter to us first.
Yeah.
Because if I don't love my brother, nobody else gonna love me. I got to love my brother first.
Exactly.
If I don't love my brother, then I can't expect nobody else to love my brother.
For sure.
Let me tell you what my mother used to do to us. 5 boys. My mother had 5 sons. Well, 6 sons. And we could not go and play with our friends and stuff down the street. We first have to play with each other. You have to love your brother first. You have to have your brother back first before you expect somebody else to love your brother. I can't expect the white man to love my brother when I'm killing him.
Yeah.
He's going to say, hey, shit, you don't care about him. Why should I care about it?
Exactly.
So the Black Lives Matter movement was a good thing. It has its pros, but its con was it didn't touch us enough to exemplify love to each other. That's what it should have done. It should have made me and you become closer. Should have made me and that guy on the other side of the block come closer.
Yeah.
A union or something. That was our chance to shine, honestly, you know, but it's like, it was crazy.
You said it right then, right there. I mean, when our community gets threatened or attacked, that was our opportunity to show the world, for that matter, that we could still come together and fight for a cause, that we didn't lose that fighting spirit. In some ways we did that. In other ways, it just showed how long it's been since we flexed our muscles. You know what I mean? So I think it showed the strengths and weaknesses of that moment. AJ, I like where you pointed out the individual, the importance of your individual resolve. And that goes back to what I was talking about, you know, developing your individual self. So if y'all can think back, you know, way back yonder or something last week, when was there a time where you when you got to that point of being tired of a particular situation to where you were like, I'm done, it's time to make a change or take a stand?
You saying within self or just like in general?
Yeah, with yourself. Or in general, like outside, you know, outside forces or something like that.
I just got tired of like going through the same cycles. I started realizing, you know what, you get older, you get wiser, this and that, you know what I'm saying? So it's time to make a change, like, you know what I'm saying? It just got to a point I just started really isolating myself from a whole lot of situations. Whole time I didn't even know what was going on. I started getting quiet. I started this and that. That's when I knew it was time for a mental shift. You know what I'm saying? So it's like once I started really realizing a lot of this and that, I just accepted it. And when I started accepting, I started seeing flaws. I started seeing all types of things, you know what I'm saying? And I just learned how to embrace the new form of me.
Okay.
Because in order to get something that you never had, you got to do something that you never done before.
Exactly.
I feel most people are scared to just point fingers at themselves. Like AJ was saying, look in that mirror and show some type of accountability. Everything starts with yourself. I understand you had this upbringing and all this and that, but it's on you when you reach a certain point in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, it can go back to the parents thing. You know what I'm saying? I feel like certain parents can hold their kids' hands for so long, then when it's time to really let it go, they so lost. Like, you know what I'm saying? When the signs was already there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's what I feel. And, you know, I just got tired of doing the same thing.
For sure. Yeah.
For me, it goes back a little while. You know, when you work on a job and then you're no longer there, you're gonna hear all kind of lies and all kind of mess.
Yeah.
And if you won't get the truth from the horse's mouth, you'll never get it.
Right.
Well, I got sick and tired a long time ago, months ago. And when I speak out against it, then I became the target. This is something I spoke out about on our job. Area managers, they at the desk, they on their laptops, PAs out on the floor, and we're under the gun. And I spoke out against that. And I became a target. See, when you get sick and tired of something and you speak out, always look for some backlash. It's coming. You understand? This is something else I spoke out on. They spend more time looking for something to write somebody up for instead of spending time supporting and encouraging. They walk around their laptops looking for anything to write somebody up because the way the system is designed, they got to do so many write-ups per month.
Yeah.
Lightly you take it. They do. So when I spoke out against that, Dawson, and I'll call his name and I'll tell him wherever I see him at. Trust me, he don't want none of this. He was the first one. He was the first one that became the enemy. He'll smile with you. I'll tell him while he's sitting on his mama's lap, he's a snake. You understand? Because I'm just that type of Negro. You understand? So when you get tired of something and you start speaking out, expect some backlash. Expect they coming after you, and they'll find whatever they can find to get you. You understand? So I got sick and tired of the way people are being treated. You understand? You got associates that's working hard there every day. As soon as they 5 minutes, TOT, here you come, instead of saying, hey, what's wrong? This is not your normal behavior. You understand? Hey, you got a coaching and a write-up. You understand? So this is what they pay you to do. You push me in the front of the gun, and then you stand back here and find somebody else you can kill too. And when I spoke up about that, I became the enemy. You understand? And it's fine with me because if you don't plan on getting slapped in the face, don't get in front of the line as a leader. Because you're gonna get slapped. If you don't want to be talked about, don't get in the front as a leader. I've never been afraid of a punch. I've taken plenty of them. You understand? And there's been a couple of them that knocked me to my knees. Believe that. You know. But if you want to be a leader and you want to stand up for something, expect to get some shit thrown at you from somewhere because it's coming.
That's real.
If you ever forget that you did something wrong, run for public office and see if they don't dig some dirt up on you. That's just human nature. That's just the way life is. You know, so that's why we have to walk circumspectly. We have to walk straight, do right, live right. So when we speak up and say something, we don't have to worry what they say because we have nothing to hide.
Okay. All right. I mean, okay. So reflecting on those two examples y'all gave from your own lives, did y'all get the results that y'all wanted? And if not, do y'all regret those decisions y'all made of standing up for yourselves or standing up to the opposition?
No, because like I said, it goes back to what I said. Like, in order to get something that you never had before, you got to do some things that you never done before. It's gonna be a lot of, like I said, a lot of self-reflecting. Cause I feel like a lot of things, a lot of times, people don't know how to accept. People don't like to hear the truth about. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's all about self-awareness. Like, and you in control of your destiny, the things you want to do. I don't have to. I feel like I don't have to sit here and tell you about the things that's wrong with you and all this and that. You should already know that about yourself. That's just what I feel. You know what I mean? But if it take for me to say that to you, okay, cool. You know. But I feel like everybody gets to a point in their life, you just get sick and tired, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Some people point fingers. Some make excuses. Some people make that shit happen.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the ones. I'm gonna make it happen regardless of what, because you just get tired. Like you know.
Yeah.
It just feel like you just running in circles. Like,
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
For me, the results don't come sometimes overnight. Sometimes you have to speak up, and you get tired of something. You have to speak up, say something about it, and you're not going to get that result instantly all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a week, a month. Sometimes it may take a few years. But due to the fact that you spoke up about it, and it's now the noise that's being yelled and ringing, you eventually get some results. Somebody else is going to be able to speak up about it because they're sick and tired. They just didn't say anything until you said something. So now sometimes speaking up gives us that domino effect.
Right.
And do I regret it? No, not at all. Not one bit.
Yeah.
At all. When I left there, I came home in my usual routine, pulled me a glass of wine, light me a cigar, and said, guess what? Next step.
Right.
Get on another horse and keep riding. Simple as that. That's the way life is. If the horse throw you off, you don't have to get back on the same horse. Get on another one. Yeah, and keep riding. My time has come and gone because I got another engagement. It's been a pleasure, and looking forward to seeing you brothers next week.
All right. It was a pleasure talking to you, AJ.
Sure, man.
Yes, sir. Peace.
All right, till next time. All right.
Call me anytime. Zach got my number. Well, my number's on there. Call me anytime.
All right. You take care.
All right, guys.
Sure, man.
Take care.
Yeah, DJ. Look, what's going on? Look, AJ got a lot to say, and it was wise to bring him on here because he not only is he well spoken, but he got age on him. You know what I mean? Age, with age comes wisdom typically, and he's got it. And I just like hearing from, the generations before us and what they talked about and what they went through and what they learned from those things. I think that's the realness behind it. But we're gonna keep it moving. I think we got about 20 more minutes. So with those, those examples of taking a stand, I think it's important just to talk about it, talk about your own issues to the next person, because you never know what you might spark in them. The things that you identify in your situation may help them identify what's going on in their situations. Let's say we had a common enemy. One person knows who's the enemy is or who the enemy is, but that person is still trying to figure out, connecting the dots to that person. When y'all find that common enemy, y'all could basically band together and, come up with a solution that may be beneficial to both of y'all. And I think that's where a social movement happens. When you find another person tired of the same thing happening to them in their own lives, that it's something about getting, support, gaining help. And we are social creatures. So when connecting with the next person, that lights a fire in you, and it makes you want to keep going further. And two minds are better than one, and many make something happen. So I think AJ touched up on a lot of good stuff. You did as well, and it's got a lot of things turning in my own head right now. But yeah, man. Shoot, where can we take this conversation next?
I honestly, bro, like I said, when AJ was talking, I was just so in shock with everything. But I can on this. We still stay on this subject. I feel like everything is all about perspectives, bro. You in control of your own destiny. like I was constantly saying, everything starts with you. That's the common denominator. That's what I mean by building that solid like foundation within yourself. You start weighing your pros and cons with yourself, situation or whatever. Reality. Cause one thing about the universe or whatever you believe in, it knows how to get your attention in some type of way. Don't be one of the ones that like catch on the shit at the last minute. You know the signs and all this and that there. Maybe you need to tap into this. But a lot of people get so comfortable with they be so familiar with this comfort zone that they in, so they stay in that same place. Then 5 or 10 years pass by, you wonder why you stay in the same spot. You still holding on to the same grudges, the same this, same that. Come on, bro. No. Then people have kids and shit like that. It's like now you got so much back in your life. You missing so much time with your kids. Like you're around them, but it's like you're not present. You know what I mean? So it's just so many ways to look at it. You know, but it starts with you.
For sure. You're right on that. I mean, now in today's age, people, I'm sure this was true all throughout history. You got certain people that just go with the flow. They let things happen to them and they say, I'll handle it. And I think people confuse that with being tough or durable or, strong. But that just means that situation hasn't hit you yet. You know what I mean? You need to prepare for that next thing. You need to keep growing. If you're not growing, then you're more susceptible to fall for the next thing. You know what I mean? So knowledge is power, more so than money. You know what I mean?
I 100% agree, but I feel like if you're not growing, you're stagnant.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. Amen. We were talking about this at work. You know what we're talking about. I was like, I just feel like I'm kind of being a little stagnant. I don't like to get stagnant. You feel me? So that's just what type of guy I am. It just, like you said, the moment you stop growing, it's like I have a problem with that. It's like I don't like to feel comfortable with nothing. It just, I believe in living in the moment with certain things, but at some point, if I'm getting too comfortable with something, nah, because speaking back on like growing up and things like that, I used to watch that. And it's like, I don't want to be like that. I used to be the one to just sit back and analyze a lot of things, from parents, cousins, whatever, all types of shit. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I used to be like, I don't want to be like this. I don't want to be like that. So it started early for me. Around about 11, 12 years old, I'm still trying to shake shit my life.
Yeah.
And I remember you said something about, do I regret certain changes I made? No, because I'm growing.
Yeah.
A lot of burdens I don't let go of, a lot of traumas I'm realizing, a lot of things I'm saying now because I'm accepting the man in the mirror. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
And it be some uncomfortable ass truths that comes with it. But in the day, I'm the type, I want to know more things about myself. Every day you wake up and breathe, before you put your feet on the ground, whatever, it always room for improvement. Simple as that, bro.
For sure.
That's just what I feel.
I respect you for that too, because many people try to make a change, but the moment they face pushback, they start regretting, those decisions. It shakes up the foundations or their normal routine, because the reality sets in that the convenience of that routine that they've been living in was comforting in a way. So when you try to bring about change, that brings about a certain level of discomfort. But you got to have that vision to know that what you're fighting for is worth the discomfort, in that moment. You know what I mean? So
it's like this. I look at it like this from the universe standpoint. You can have anything that you speak, manifest, whatever you want to say, you know what I'm saying? But it's like without discipline, without a solid foundation, balance, you know what I'm saying? You don't have nothing. That's just really what it is. And I feel like, okay, you can take this person, they've been doing this same thing for over 5 years, whatever it may be. Then the moment it's time for them to like be a little bit uncomfortable so they can change, They run away from it because they so used to this, what they already don't set for themselves.
Yeah.
People don't know how to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's why a lot of people don't grow. That's why I feel like it's like a smaller percentage of people that's successful compared to successful. Because it's a mental it's a mental thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's why I be so cautious with the things I say, the things I want with my life. Because it's like the moment you say things, bro, it starts to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And times things start happening, people just don't know how to accept. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's really what it is, bro. So I would be feeling sorry for, I'm just saying, feeling sorry for people that's not growing and all this and that, because it all starts with you. Once again, bro.
Yeah.
It ain't hard. We just make it hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
That's what's up. I mean, I see what, you know, what you and AJ have done out there in the workplace. Y'all go beyond this podcast and just talk about it here. Y'all live that truth. Y'all try to spread that knowledge to the next person. You know what I mean? AJ, for example, he talks to the younger generations. We were talking about this earlier, before you had hopped on, but he was like, he would like to pick the younger guys' brains on how they were thinking, just to see if they had their head on straight. And so when he asked them about, you know, where do they put their money, where does their spending go to, or where would they like to put their money, you know, if they had it. They talked about cars, they talked about uh, jewelry, stuff like that, materialistic stuff. And it just lets you know that where their vision was, that stuff is going to depreciate. As AJ had said, you know, that stuff depreciates quickly. You can't do much with that stuff, you know, after a while. But if you invested in things like land, uh, properties, you know, even knowledge, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That stuff has lasting value that could help build a legacy and be passed on to future generations. So those conversations he's having with them, whether, you know, it stuck with them or went in one ear and out the other, he's still actively doing that. And I think that's the mindset and the spirit that you need to have when, you know, trying to make change within yourself and within your community. Whether you see results in those conversations or not, don't give up type thing. And so I think we, as the younger generation, need to pay it forward by doing those same things and staying persistent and staying sharp. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, as iron sharpens iron, so does a friend to another type thing. And so us talking on this podcast, I think keeps us sharp. You know what I mean? Keeps us thinking, keep us growing. You know what I mean? It ain't just sharing knowledge that we already know, but just listening. And I can tell from AJ and you that y'all listen. You know what I mean? Y'all don't mind listening. And I think that's something that more people need to have. I feel like you got something to say though.
No. I'm just really, it's like everything you saying, bro, it kind of like, I'm kind of getting chills. It ain't nothing personal.
It's clicking.
It just, where you, yeah. I'm
I'll
just
take
in
your
shock. That's all,
confirmation.
bro.
Yeah, for sure. Man, but yeah, I mean, like he was telling one associate, you know, who had a baby on the way, he was like, you know, what are you doing for that child, you know? And he was like, you know, by the time that baby turns 2, you gonna be 3K in the hole. And so that associate asked why, and he was like, because you should be putting money towards that child. He gave an example of, you know, 1,500 every year, you know, as like a trust fund or some sort of savings for that child so that they can have some sort of stable foundation for when they get out there on their own. You know what I mean? And so in my mind, I was like, that really makes sense. But, you know, realistically, every young parent ain't going to have the money or that opportunity to put that, you know, build a trust fund for their child. Or even have the mindset to. So besides money, what could you give your child? What could you pass on to your child? especially in the Black community?
Okay, you ask me, besides money, what are some things you give your child?
Yeah.
It's crazy because I was just thinking about this, like I want to say earlier, but I have these, I be thinking.
I know you be think.
Yeah. Besides money, I feel like you can give them love, teach them how to be a person of understanding, teach them how to like handle difficult situations, teach them about their emotions, things like that, things that money cannot buy. It don't matter how many courses that you buy, none of that. You know what I'm saying? And it also takes a healed parent. Like promise them, like I was saying, like me realizing my traumas and things is actually helping me but develop into other areas too. That's what I feel. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it all starts with self-awareness. And I want to speak back on what you were saying. Like, nothing happens by coincidence, bro. Like, nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just, once you just develop new habits or this and that, it just, life becomes a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? Of course, it's not easy. That will separate situations from situations, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
It just starts within it, bro. I don't know how many times I'm gonna say it tonight, bro. Everything starts within here.
Yeah.
Like that's all.
Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. I see we got 5 minutes left. So I'm gonna end with one last question. Um, in honor of Black History Month, given that all we talked about and all that we thought about, up to this point, what's one thing we can do to honor Black history, our culture, our people, and those who have came before us? What's something we can do today to uphold that?
I feel like don't forget about your history.
Yeah.
Don't forget about your history. I feel like obviously we live in a more modern, everything is 10 times different than how it was then. Because I feel like back then, like people like Martin Luther King, folks like that, it's like they were setting that foundation. They were setting the tone for now. And I really feel like us as a people is kind of like letting them down in a certain type of way. You know what I mean? Because the thing about it, if people like our skin tone, whatever race that's with this, if we all just realize it all starts in here, I feel like everything starts right here, bro. It's all about working smarter and not harder.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. Everything works around working smarter. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it can probably start with reading. Definitely reading, I feel, because, reading and, put yourself in a certain situation, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's many avenues you can take with this. You know what I mean? But I really feel like we failing a lot of the people that came before us, because I want to say this too, bro. I just feel like we don't stick together, bro. It's like a dog eat world for real, bro. Like people get jealous of this, jealous of that, or whatever, when it shouldn't be like that. When the whole world, I feel like, is against us. When I feel like we powerful, bro. We just don't realize that, because a lot of people don't realize it's in here. It's what you see, what you say, it's how you move. Like, you know, very different.
Man, I mean, I don't think people realize how much potential is within them. When we say it starts with self, it really starts with yourself, because you have so much to offer. You got the power to create life or, death. You know what I mean? You can be constructive or you can destroy, cause destruction. So we got to be mindful of that. Um, yeah. So we're gonna end with that. That was a good conversation. I think, that was a good way to close out the month of Black History. I feel like that was the most engaging conversation I've had concerning Black history, probably the last few years, to be honest with you. And so I think one way I can pay it forward is to keep having conversations like this. Hopefully with y'all, it was a pleasure to have Dr. AJ Hayward on here. It was a pleasure to have you on here, DJ. speak your mind, speak your truth, and opinions. You know what I mean? And so, for those of you out there watching and tuning in, again, this is Three Wise Men, a new podcast, where us three just basically speak our mind, sharing knowledge, wisdom, and our own opinions, and just sharing our life experiences in general. Uh, yeah. So we hope to see y'all next time because we'll definitely be here. So we hope to see you.
For sure.
Hey, DJ, you have anything you want to say?
Now, just thank you for having me. And like my boy Zach was saying, this is the Three Wise Men podcast. Well, you won't get this
For
knowledge
sure.
everywhere, anywhere,
For sure.
you know.
Yeah.
Hey.
Before we close it out,